Hey, Facebook, happy Monday. We are here getting ready to answer your listener questions. Pam and Rikki are standing by. We're all three here right now at this moment. Be Live has been mean to us. We're dropping like flies, coming back in, and it's like crazy. So at least we're all here right now. So if we have any technical difficulties, we will overcome those as we go. Hopefully everybody had a great Monday. What day is it? I don't know what that is.
What?
We are way off on Friday. Yeah.
Teresa Shinegold. This, I think she's in the chat already because I see her little icon there as a reaction. So I just wanted to thank everybody at the Indie Disney Meet for having us out. We had a great time this weekend. We're exhausted. We had a great time.
I know it was. We did have a great time. It's so nice to get to meet everybody. But yes, it is. It's like
exhausting.
I know. By the end of the evening, you can just see it. Everyone you show up at the restaurant, and everyone's just like,
"Oh, yes, I'm a zombie now." Yeah.
Yeah, the restaurant's so good when we go there after boom balls, but it's like you're so tired. Like I'm just
Oh no, I'm in on their Mediterranean meatballs. Oh my god, they're so good. I devoured a bunch of those. So.
Barbecue chicken pizza on thin crust. It was like from the guy.
Nope.
Yeah.
Meatballs.
So we love being there. So thanks.
Yes, it's all about all about the meatballs. I'm just saying, I love the meatballs. I really want to learn how to make those meatballs with that kind of sauce. It's kind of like a tzatziki sauce, probably actually. So
that's what the thing at Docking Bay 7's like, sort of.
I'll be there this time next week.
It has that kind of a feel to it.
I'll just be back.
I know. I keep trying to decide, are we going to go down this weekend?
Oh my God, you might go down this weekend.
Roll. Let's go. I'm getting there Sunday at 1.
I'm going to be there all weekend.
Let's
so
go.
Come on, Pam Forster.
I don't know. I have not been home much this year.
I know.
It was okay, I'm here at home, and then
you can come to Halloween Horror Nights with me. It would be so much fun.
Stop. That's good. Save it for the show because that's our first question.
No.
I have not watched videos from Skyliner because I'm writing it. I don't want to be spoiled.
No, I don't either.
The picture that's on the video before it starts. Like, no. I mean, seriously, I know what it's going to look like. You're only like 20 feet up. It's not like I haven't seen what the ground looks like that I've walked over. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
No, you're higher. I mean, and some of them have very nice vista views.
I think the ones coming into the Art of Animation Pop Century station, they're really low over the water. It's almost like landing on an aircraft carrier. I'm gonna make noises as we come in.
Yeah,
great. Anyway,
there's truly a lot of cool. I think there's going to be really cool views from there. Mm-hmm. I think I'm just really, really looking forward to it. But
me too.
And I'm not getting a lightsaber. I've decided.
He decided. I know you held the lightsaber.
I held it, and they were awesome.
The lightsaber was very cool to hold.
It's so cool, isn't it?
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, I say that now. It's Monday, so
I know that's true. We'll see what he comes home with next week.
We'll see what happens. All right, let's do this. All right, let me hit.
Wait, what day do you come back next week?
Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, so I guess we have to record.
We have to record one extra show because I'm going to put out the Indie Disney Meet show next Friday. So we need to just do a listener questions with somebody between here and this weekend.
Okay.
That's going to be an email. Let's just get through today. Today's one of those days. I just want to get through today. I'm sorry.
Let's get through today and move on.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for being here. We got a lot of folks in the live chat. So yes. And yes, I'll try to get the green milk. I'll try. All right. And also, Margie, we're glad your brother is doing
yes, absolutely. I know.
All right. Okay. So let's do listener questions for Wednesday. And if you have questions, you put them in the chat and we'll get to those as well. Welcome to episode 1542 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you and welcome to Fall 2019, where here in the States, fall means instead of being 95, it's going to be 92 until it starts snowing, I think, for most parts of the country. But hopefully that sweater weather, and I guess you got to get your pumpkin spice lattes and all that good stuff is right around the corner. But we're going to have some fun talking Walt Disney World. We've got some fall questions. So, I don't know, get on your flannel and get ready. We're going to have a good time talking Disney today. And before we do that, I just want to thank everybody at the Indy Disney Meet for having us out. We had a great time raising money for Give Kids the World, part of the Disney community. Everybody got together for a great cause, Give Kids the World. And we got to meet so many of our listeners. It was so great to have you there. Thanks for coming up and saying hello and making our day. We talked about that at dinner that night, that we've said this for over 11 years. We have the best listeners, and we truly do. I mean, we had folks share funny stories. I had a couple share a very heartfelt story, a very personal story about what Walt Disney World means to them. And I was honored. And, I think we came together. We had a similar kind of situation. It was just fun to put faces with names and see friends new and friends that we've known for years and years. And just thanks to everybody at the Indy Disney Meet for letting us get to hang out with some of the best people in the world. We had a great time and raised a lot of money for Give Kids World. Thanks to everybody who donated and who bought auction items. I know a lot of our folks did that as well. This is a great weekend. So let's get the ladies in, and we're going to get to your listener questions. Joining me from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less, we have Rikki. Rikki, what's going on?
$55,000 was raised for Give Kids the World this past weekend, which is amazing. So my little heart is so happy to know that much money was raised for Give Kids the World. So it's a good thing.
Lots of families will get to have memories that they'll remember for lifetime, forever. So because of your generosity. So thanks. And we have our, we're doing the 12-hour show for the podcast here.
Well, not 12 hours in total, but I just want to make sure people know. Yes. It'll be 12 hours total, but not at the same time.
You like a pie that looks like a peace sign. It's going to be 3 shows of 4 hours each. And we're going to have the first one in October. So coming up.
We hope.
All right, also joining us, we have the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, happy Wednesday. Welcome home.
Happy Wednesday. It was awesome. $55,000 was really a cool thing to be a part of. I just have such love and respect for all the folks that are participating in that help us get there one way or another, just help make that happen. It's so weird. We started the company in 2002, and that's when our company started doing some fundraising for Give Kids the World. And it's so cool to see it really continue to grow and how the village has grown since that part. I mean, since 2002, it's weird to think that it's that far back, 17 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right, at this point. But the village has grown, and just the way that people are able to fundraise and put that much money into it. The Indy Disney Meet has been going one of the longest meets like that in effect. So that's really cool. It's cool to be a part of that. I'm just so glad for everyone who showed up or donated or helped or volunteered or everything. It's a great team there.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. They're a well-oiled machine, man, because there's a lot going on. If you don't realize how much the folks, if you were there, the people in the purple shirts are doing, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So thank you to everybody who volunteered as well. All righty, let's get to the first question. This one's kind of a Rikki slanted question.
Oh, okay.
It's from one of my good friends, Scott, one of my guests over at the Magic for Less Travel. He says, hi, Mike, Pam, and Rikki. I have a trip planned for Halloween weekend and a little beyond, and we're looking for something to do on Halloween night. We're kicking off our trip with 3 nights at Universal and Halloween Horror Nights before moving over to Walt Disney World for 7 more nights. While I'd considered doing the Halloween party at the Magic Kingdom, it really doesn't appeal to our group. Traditionally, we spend Halloween night here in Los Angeles, hopping around various home haunts and professional haunted houses. What other cool things are there to do Halloween night, either at the resorts or something off property? Thanks, Scott. So I can only imagine, like in LA, what the houses and like professional haunted houses are like, because I mean that's like Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right out there. I was just thinking about that when I got this email. So Rikki, what would you say? I mean, they're doing Halloween, and I found a fun fact about Rikki I found out this weekend. It's always fun to learn stuff about your co-host that you didn't know.
It.
Scared to go in haunted houses.
I am.
Universal. She goes to the dang event, but doesn't
go
to the house.
I don't go into the house.
Honey.
I worked in a haunted house, by the way, in college. Loved every minute. Silo X.
I've worked in haunted houses before, which is the funny part. I
just have a JC one, right?
Well, I didn't work at that one because I was terrified to go into it. But I've worked in other ones, like in college. Like we had one at my college dorm. I was dressed as a bear that was supposed to be eating people. I don't really know. It was a weird. It was a weird haunted house, but anyway.
I'll tell you, Scott's trip it's 4 buddies. It's 4 guys going down having a good time. So what is there to do? I mean, they've already done the Halloween Horror Nights. So what would you say for Halloween night?
I mean, if they've already done Halloween Horror Nights, and they don't want to go to Mickey's Not So Scary. I mean, that's really the only other thing I can think of is if you wanted to take the trek down to like Busch Gardens, I think they do Hallow Scream down there, which is an option. And I know that I hear that that's kind of terrifying. So that's a choice if you wanted to go down to Tampa. But other than that, I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of like scary Halloween stuff that really occurs in Orlando besides Halloween Horror Nights. And then you've got the not so scary option over at Disney. You've also got like making characters in Halloween costumes at Disney. But again, I don't really know that that's quite up their alley. So, but they meet at the resorts for anybody that's at the resorts on Halloween in costumes, which is really cute. So, but yeah, besides going to Halloween Horror Nights, man, I really don't know what to do on Halloween. I say just buy another ticket for Halloween Horror Nights. They've got their Rush of Fear Pass and the Frequent Fear Pass, I think, that they've got, and go buy that and just do it up real good. I mean, you're going to want to see all the houses for Halloween Horror Nights, and it's going to take you, depending on the day, and especially if you're going closer to Halloween, it may take you a number of days to actually see those houses. So that might be the right option to go with. Plus, you also want to make sure you get pizza fries, as well as twisted taters, as well as this year they've added s'mores fries. I'm all about it. See, this is what I go to Halloween Horror Nights for. I go for the scare zones, so I can watch, so I can see the hauntedness, and I can keep my eye on everybody. Like, I'm really good at scoping out where those scare actors are. See, when they come out at me from the boo holes in the houses, that scares the bejeebus out of me. But when I can keep an eye on them and kind of catch and watch them eye to eye and, look at them like that, I'm okay. So I really go for, and plus I get to ride the rides without much of a wait. So that part's nice too. Yeah. So,
but see, I have the right answer.
Okay.
So you get your buddies together. You get on your flannel because it's fall,
no,
right?
no.
You get a churro or something.
Are we gonna go find chainsaws?
No, you go over to you go to Fort Wilderness.
Okay.
Okay, so you go to Fort Wilderness. You walk in the loops over there, and you get into a really, woodsy one where there's not a lot of people there, and then Goofy Pop jumps out with a chainsaw.
I'm sorry, I screwed it up.
I know you totally. What are you doing, Rikki? I was like, stop talking so I can get to my line here, because one of our littlest listeners, he loves that show because he says it's a dinosaur show because we say rawr. That was our little listener that we met at the Indy Disney meet. Thanks for screwing it up, Rikki. Anyway, man.
Sorry, my bad.
That these guys do? I mean, it sounds like they're really looking for a good scare, and Halloween Horror Nights is probably about the best in Orlando.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Disney just doesn't do anything that's going to be that kind of scary. But if you're open to just getting that Halloween kind of feeling, you can go over to Fort Wilderness too and see people decorate their campsites like they do at the holidays. I mean, it's not quite the level of, that you're going to see at Christmas, but they absolutely do it then too. There's some cool stuff there. It's not an official thing. So if those folks who normally decorate aren't there, don't happen to be camping this year, then they may not be there. But anyways, you have that. I would just take the opportunity to, do what you're going to do in Walt Disney World, I think too. If you're there, if that's where you're staying, that's the easiest to do. Just think of something besides, it doesn't have to be a real Halloween theme.
I will say I have done one very cool thing on Halloween at Walt Disney World before, and that is riding Tower of Terror on Halloween. And you know why? Because the lightning struck on Halloween night. So that's one of the really cool things that you can do. If you're at Walt Disney World and you're not going to Mickey's Not So Scary, go ride Tower of Terror because it happened on Halloween night. So.
There you go.
Or, you could also, I'm sure there's standalone haunted houses in Orlando. Just catch an Uber and do that. I mean, there's got to be at least one or two. I mean,
I don't know. I would think my brother would know about those, and he's never mentioned one to me because he's a Halloween aficionado. So
I don't know that they would be better than what.
Oh no, definitely not better than what Halloween Horror Nights does.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something about standing in line for 3 hours getting haunted house on Halloween. That's crazy. Anyway, all right. Next question is from Jody Drake, who was at the Indy Disney meet, who had a little magic happen. Question: I know Mike and Pam have probably dealt with this, so I thought I'd throw this question out there. I will be at the World in February with my two daughters. They're 12 and 15. Would you feel comfortable turning the kids at this age loose in the parks by themselves? I'm sure they would like a little freedom and might not want to do everything the adults are doing. So this is parenting advice, Pam, and we've both been there. I'll give you what I've done. Now, here's the thing: you got two together. The thing is, two together is always better because sometimes the younger kid has more sense than the older kid. I don't know. I understand a lot of times the 12-year-old has more, they're a little bit scaredy cat. That helps keep everybody safe. I'm just saying. Basically, my frame of reference was Hannah and Paige. Because a lot of times I would go down with just Paige, and then you guys were there with Hannah, and we'd want to go do something. I think it's a good place where you can let them go in the park you're in. Like, say you want to go to Tomorrowland, it's okay maybe to let them go with, especially with cell phones now, go over to Adventureland, ride Jungle Cruise. That's a good way to start it. I don't know if I would maybe cut them loose like from Pop Century to say, okay, go to Animal Kingdom and have a good day, and we'll see you later tonight. I like to be in the park with them and kind of see how that goes and then step it up. But I mean, 12's kind of young. I don't know, total personal thing, but that's what I say, Pam.
So with two of them, like you said, Mike, they sort of, when you have two together, they sort of keep each other honest.
Yeah.
One for one reason or another. Either they want to both do the same thing, or they want to sort of tattle on the other one who may not be doing the right thing, right? So I think that is something that you consider. Or 12 and 15. I mean, the 15-year-old is going to be able to drive the year after. And going to be doing stuff on his or her own. You said two girls, right? Yeah, I think so. She's going to be doing stuff on her own the next year. So I think it is good prep for that. Like Mike said, why don't you give it a dry run and see how they do in the same park. But I think that if that goes okay, I think I would be okay. Here would be my stipulations. You have to take Disney transportation places. So no Uber, no lifting, no anything like that. You could take a minivan. That I would be allowed if they were going. But what I would really like for them to do is take Disney transportation to the park if I wasn't going to be there. Call me when they were in the park and check in with me at regularly scheduled times. Now, I was total psycho parent to this day. I still have Hannah do that.
It's true. You do.
I know, I do. So, but I just feel better. It's like once I know she's there, I can see her on Find My Friends. Oh, and by the way, it was all
a huge thing. Find My Friends. I was going to
absolutely
because you can literally see right now where they are, and you can. That is. Man, I'm so glad we didn't have that when I was in high school.
Oh.
It's a great thing for right now. It gives you peace of mind. I mean, I do that with Paige at college. She's a graduate. She's a grad student. But I mean, I just like to know that at the end of the night, she's back at her apartment. Like she's safe. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, good tip.
Totally there. So yeah, but I have found that Disney sort of is a bubble. It's not to say that bad things can't happen there and everything else. But there's a lot of people around who are going to be a champion or a protector for kids. Should anything feel weird or creepy or whatever, speak up, talk to a cast member, or I always said this, find a mom who has kids or a dad who has kids. You know what I mean? Because more times than not, they're going to help if you need help. So anyways, and I'm sure all this. It's a bit of unsolicited parenting advice from us. You sort of asked for it, but not for all of that. So.
All right. Next. Okay. So the next question is actually not a question. It's a declarative sentence.
Uh-oh.
And it's from Michelle. She says, I think the winning name for a Skyliner crawl is the Gondola Go Around.
Gondola Go Around.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. I like that a lot, actually.
All right. Maggie's got a question in the live Facebook chat. What do I do if I do a run to the There's a lot of doo-doo. What do I do if I do a Run Disney event and I normally work evenings? My regular bedtime is 2 a.m. What's the best way to manage my sleep? Because again, marathon now we found out starts at 5. This is just full marathon weekend. But new course, I'm excited for that. We're running through Blizzard Beach. I'm going to have to go down Summit Plummet. What? Just kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a terrible idea, but okay.
Awesome. That'd be so sweet.
We'd be wet running, and that's a terrible idea. No.
Whatever. You're stupid to be out there anyway. It's dumb.
Oh my gosh.
They'd just be more miserable. No, but just kidding. So, but seriously, I think you do. This is one of those things where I like to get down to Walt Disney World just a few days early and kind of get myself on that schedule. But I run every day at 5 a.m., so I'm actually on a schedule. But if you're like total opposite, I don't know, Rikki. I mean, any suggestions? I guess you just have to kind of ease your way into getting up early.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be tough. Especially if you can't ease your way in. It's just it's gonna be tough. I mean, because by the time you get done, it depends on what kind of course you could potentially stay up, but I mean, it would be really, really rough to do that and then go to bed after you're done with the race if you really couldn't.
Dude, you walk up though if you go back to bed after the race. I did that a couple times, man. You're like Frankenstein getting out of bed then.
That's true. I don't know. That's tough. That's really tough. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Have any suggestions for like people that are, because I think about that, but I'm like shift workers, maybe. I mean, that's really kind of a bad thing. If you got all of a sudden like, boom, make the change.
No, this is something I am so not skilled in. I've always worked like regular, day things. Thank goodness, because I am so inflexible in terms of my sleep pattern, really and truly. And it's only getting worse. I remember when Steve and I were first dating in college. When he first started working at the hospital, he would work, different shifts at different times. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't adapt to your shift. Like, I have to go to bed at the same time I go to bed. You know what I mean? So anyways, just not my strong suit. I don't know how folks do it. But I think the key is you probably have some flexibility in your space in terms of there are probably other times when you get up at more normal times, right? More typical sleep and awake times. What do you do? How do you make that transition when you're doing that? And maybe that helps there. But yeah, it's gonna be an early morning or a really, really late night. Either way you look at it, compared to what you're thinking of. Maybe you'll have an edge over some of the folks.
Because it's brutal for everybody.
I know, that's true, right?
Why am I standing in a parking lot at 3:30 in the morning doing the cha-cha slide? What led me into this parking lot, and cha-cha slide some DJ at 3:45 with big Mickey hands having me dancing around. Okay, and then we're gonna turn you loose, go run 13 or whatever.
Too funny.
All right, next question. It's about Rafiki's Planet Watch. Is it still a thing? It's from Whitney down in Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, Mike, BOGP crew, is Rafiki's Planet Watch open again at Animal Kingdom? I know it closed for a while last fall. If it is open, what's over there now? Looks like maybe a petting zoo. Do you still take a train to get there? I know it doesn't get a lot of love for most people, but we're headed to Walt Disney World in December, and I think our 2- and 4-year-old would actually love a petting zoo and a train ride, especially since the Magic Kingdom trains are not running right now. Also, do you know if you can fit a double stroller on the train? Whitney from Memphis. Rikki, the question is it still a thing, Rafiki's Planet Watch?
It has reopened, which is good news. So yeah, I think for a 2- and 4-year-old, this is the perfect thing to go do. So over at Rafiki's Planet Watch, there is the affection section, which is the petting zoo. There's also conservation station, which has some exhibits and things like that.
These dang names.
I know.
The affection section.
I know.
Don't let high schoolers go there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe those teenagers. Yeah, no, never mind. So at the now I'm confused. Okay,
sorry.
That's okay. Conservation station. They have the ability to do like exhibits. They also sometimes have the ability to see surgeries performed and things like that on animals. There's also right now the new thing that they've added. Now your kiddos are probably a little young for this, but for those who are curious, they have added the ability to learn how to draw. So they have an animation class there where you're learning how to draw characters from The Lion King, and I think they bring out an animal that's similar to what you're drawing, more or less. Obviously they're not bringing out a lion, but.
What?
I know. Sorry.
I wanted a lion.
I know, but they're bringing out similar stuff, and then you learn a little bit about the animal and how maybe that animal was influenced, in The Lion King, and then you draw a character from The Lion King. So, yeah, it's a great little area. It isn't talked about a lot because it's pretty heavy on the educational side of things, I think, and it hasn't gotten necessarily the love from Disney that I think that other places have. The addition of the drawing class is something that's nice, but I've been over there, and some of the exhibits that they have are a little dated, and I think that that's probably why it doesn't get the love that it maybe should. But the petting zoo is really fun. Now, the problem with the petting zoo is sometimes they pen off the animals, and so when they're penned off, you can't pet them. So just keep that in mind. I don't know if they have like a certain time of day that they tend to do that more or not. I would say maybe head over there more toward the morning. That way, you may have more of an opportunity to pet said animals. Because I think I went over there in the afternoon and they were kind of like on break. So
then the goats have been brushed too much.
Correct, exactly. So just
as a parent, that was my favorite time when we couldn't actually pet the animals.
Got it. Got it.
Darn it!
No, that's shoot. Like then we didn't walk away from it smelling all goaty.
Yeah, I love brushing the goats. We have a zoo and we have Grant's Farm. We do both.
I like to see them from afar. I'm like, oh, there
look
they
at the
are.
goats.
They try to eat your clothes, man. They're crazy.
It wasn't the actual goats. It was the smell. Like, and all there was like the hand sanitizer thing. And I'm like, that did nothing for my hands that smell like goat.
My hands still reek of goat. Just saying.
You need one of those like Survivor showers that you go in and pull the cord and
right.
Yeah. All right. Next question from Morgan. Resort hopping gondola question. Hello to my favorite podcast team. My mom and I are headed down to the world November 22 through 26. About 2 weeks or so after I come on the podcast to talk about my last trip. Sorry.
Yay!
We have a long trip. I don't know what else to do other than like duplicate me. I can't find other times. We do them on Wednesdays. Anyway, we'll be arriving at MCO around 8:30 a.m., which gets us to All-Star Movies around 10 or 10:30. We want to go to Disney Springs after we drop our bags off for about an hour or two. Then we want to check out the gondolas and resort hop a bit. My question to you all, what order do you think would be best in accomplishing these things? We're thinking about catching a bus from Disney Springs to one of the gondola resorts, riding a gondola to Hollywood Studios, and from there, we really want to see all of the deluxe resorts. We have until 7:20 p.m. that night. We have a dinner reservation at Whispering Canyon, so we'll end our adventure at Wilderness Lodge. We'd also love to know what transportation y'all think would be best in getting to all these resorts. Thanks for all you do, Morgan in Bristow, Virginia. All right, so they're going to go to Disney Springs for an hour or two. Then they're going to catch so here's the stuff that's given. They're going to then catch a bus like the Pop Century. I just go to, I'm thinking from the Springs. I just go to Pop or Art of Animation because there's going to be a lot of buses because it's a big resort, or Caribbean Beach. It doesn't matter. So go there and grab a gondola. And if you're going to go to Hollywood Studios, go there. So after Hollywood Studios, then obviously what you would do is I would walk or take that friendship taxi to Beach Yacht and Boardwalk if you wanted to tour those.
Yeah.
And then you could easily take a bus to the Magic Kingdom, ride the monorail around the monorail resorts, and then take a boat. I'd end at the Contemporary, take the boat from Contemporary to Wilderness Lodge and have your dinner, right?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Agree.
I think there's no other way around that. I think that's the best course of action. Yes.
Try to picture it in there. I'm walking right along with them. First of all, I was on Magical Express with them. Then I was having a little fun time over at Disney Springs. Then I was on the gondolas with them. Then I was on a bus. Man, you guys you're doing it all. But I like it because to me, Disney, this kind of sounds crazy, but I think our listeners will understand. I'm excited about riding the Disney buses for a few days when I'm down there next week.
You always get excited about it, though. You really do. Every trip, you get excited about riding the buses, and I understand it. I'm just saying it's always one of the things that you mentioned about you're excited about. It's
because you're solo. You meet people. You get to talk to people, and it's fun.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll have to make sure you try to ride one of the new buses that have characters on the side.
Seriously, yeah. Like I need to charge my phone on it, but it'll be fine.
Well,
ride it. Yeah, check it out. It'll have that new bus smell.
It will.
Anyway.
And it's not goaty.
No, it is not goaty.
I should say it'll have a smell. I don't know if it's a new bus smell, but it'll have a smell. All right, next, George Reeves in the live chat. Question. I'll be at the World for Marathon Weekend. His first dopey. What? Good job. From the 7th to the 17th. That's a good long trip. And just wonder, after Marathon Sunday, will that next week be less busy? Correctamundo. That's actually a good week to be down before Martin Luther King. It starts picking up though right before Martin Luther King, which is I think the next weekend. If I'm thinking calendar. Yeah, I think after Marathon Weekend, people are moving a lot slower. So will you. And no, it's a good time to be there. And shout out to Bethany. 2 days till she goes down. Have fun. By the time the show comes out, you'll be there. All right. Next question. I just had it, and here it is. It's from Brienne. Hey, BOGP crew. And the title is Trying Unsuccessfully to Be Legit.
Ooh.
Doesn't that just pique your interest? Like, what's
Is it too
does.
legit to quit?
I was going to say.
Dang it, me and Mike have been around each other way too much.
From Mr. Hammer, MC from Oakland, California. Anyway, hi, BOGP crew. I'm a Walt Disney World annual pass holder who plans to meet up with 2 friends at Walt Disney World in early November. They have a suite at Art of Animation and have kindly invited me to stay with them. However, when they tried to add me to the reservation, I realized they had booked a package, which included park tickets and the dining plan. So they couldn't add me to the reservation without paying for an additional park ticket and dining plan. I'm only staying for 4 of the 7 nights, so it really doesn't make sense for me to buy a dining plan or park ticket for 7 days when I have an annual pass already. I'd rather be a legit guest, but it seems like I'm running into roadblocks with Disney unless I make a separate reservation and don't stay with my friends. Is that true? Or is there a way to add me to the room at check-in? I'm happy to pay a per day additional guest fee if that's an option, even if it would be for the entire stay. Thanks for your help, Brienne. And I love this because she's trying to do the right thing, but she just needs to know how to get it done. So Pam, walk her through this process.
So it is possible to be added to the reservation once you get there. You're going to go to the front desk and do it all legit. Tell them the dates that you'll be there and whatnot. So here's the issue when adding what they sort of loosely call a day guest, although I know you're more than a day guest in this situation. You are staying overnight. You can't use Magical Express from the airport. That's just not an option to you. You won't be able to make your Fast Pass Plus reservations at 60 days because you're not actually staying there. You'll be able to do it 30 days in advance, like other guests who don't have a reservation on site. If the normal occupancy in the room is 2 adults, then they will charge you the extra price for the nights that you'll be there. But other than that, everything else should work out okay, just as long as you don't need to do those things that we talked about.
And it's always better to do it the right way, which I'm doing. That's exactly how to go about it. All right, next question. A little bit different one. It's from Chris, longtime listener, but I don't think this question was ever asked before. The Be Our Guest team gets an email from Disney saying that they love your passion and positive outlook, and they want to memorialize you all by putting you in the background or in a small role of an upcoming movie. Look at that. They let you select your role. Would it be as a droid in the next Star Wars movie, a toy in Toy Story 5, one of the emotions in Inside Out 2, the evil program in Tron 3, being the guy in the background running in a lizard shirt, something else? Keep up the great works. Oh, and only 140 miles from Pam. Go Penn State. So I was thinking about this. So if you want just like how they put those like Easter eggs.
Yeah.
In like a Pixar movie or even a, Disney movie, whatever. Pam, where would you pop up? Like if you had a chance, like they said, we're going to make you an Easter egg somewhere that's special to you in a movie. What would you do?
I mean, it wasn't one of the choices there, but I mean, we got asked this question over, the Indie Disney meet. And of course, my favorite Disney movie is Up. I mean, there's just something about that touches my heart. Now, there's a whole bunch of other ones that I love nearly as much as that. But if I had the option to do that, it would absolutely be there. Although I love the idea of being part of history with the Star Wars movies, I almost feel like they've done enough with them to kind of, I don't want to mess with them anymore. I will just leave it at that and move on. So with that, what were some of the other choices?
Oh, man.
Well, I think he's just offering up just some suggestions.
Oh, just some suggestions.
Right. So, here's mine. I was thinking about this because obviously I saw the emails that came in. Toy Story is my favorite movie, like as far as Disney movies, because Buzz Lightyear is my favorite character. What I would love to see, and it's kind of fun because we're already kind of a cartoon. Like we have that little like banner of us as cartoons, which I love, and it's on like our business cards and stuff. I would love to have like Cartoon Mike on like a classic iPad on like or not iPad, like an iPod, like the old one with the clicky wheel. Yeah. It's on, say like Buzz's hip as he's going around. It's playing Be Our Guest podcast, but it's got like our 3 like cartoon people.
That
like
would be cute.
And the old, it had like a little screen on it with a click wheel under it. I think that'd be like my ultimate Easter egg. like Buzz or Woody with like an old iPod with our cartoon people listening to an episode of the Be Our Guest podcast. That'd be my favorite. So Pam, did you come up with something for Up?
So I just think like somehow maybe in the balloons. I mean, that classic scene, like, can there be a Be Our Guest logo on one of the balloons? Yeah. I mean, that would be kind of a cool thing. Because especially I think that the animation in that particular scene was so good when you saw all the different balloons there and you kind of got, a close up of a few of them. So I would love to see that. Yeah.
What about you, Rikki? Where would you pop up as an Easter egg?
I think that it would be fun if we collectively popped up maybe in like in the Wreck-It Ralph, how in Ralph Breaks the Internet. I think that having like a Be Our Guest, like, logo or, something like in the scene of where they're looking at the internet and, seeing all the different like pop-ups of different like places you can go on the internet. I think like having our faces be a part of that and like our logo somewhere in the internet scene, I think would be a really cool thing.
It would be awesome. I think that's even better. Yeah, I'd love to be up. I love Wreck-It Ralph.
I know. I don't like Ralph Breaks the Internet as much as I like the first Wreck-It Ralph, but I think that would be a really cool way to tie our podcast in and what we do in with the whole idea of being in a Disney movie. So I think that would be a really good idea.
Haven't seen Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I will on November 12th.
Yes.
I signed up for 3 years of Disney Plus. When they get me, they're doing something right.
That's true, because Mike Roman does not watch Disney movies, so it's true.
But I got it for the Star Wars, so I didn't have to pop into the Blu-rays anymore.
Yes.
So, all right, last question of the day. It's from Tanya Brewer. She says she is 703 miles from Happily Ever After. Dear Mike, Pam, and Rikki, as of this email, we're 115 days from the marathon. What are your thoughts on the course changes announced? I love the idea of the 5 a.m. start and increased probability of not having another hot race. I'm excited that there is going to be more time in Epcot and less on the roads. The road time was the worst. Have you ever run through Blizzard Beach? And if so, what are your thoughts? Thank you for all you do, Tanya. Now, I was having this conversation with somebody at the Indie Disney Meet this past weekend. They were saying that we've run through Blizzard Beach before. And I've run a lot of the races. I've run Princess Mary. I've run that weekend. I've run Tower of Terror 10 miler. I've done Wine and Dine many times at night. I've done Marathon many times. I don't remember going through Blizzard.
So I think it was well before you started running, Mike. Like, I think I saw it was like in the early 2000s. So that's why. Maybe. Yes. And what I saw, it was somebody said Len had mentioned it actually, that they had some sort of like bubbles or something like that they were.
People were telling me about that. Now I remember fog at Tower of Terror 10 miler that got kind of slick.
Which, yeah, so things got slick because the road, the concrete at Blizzard Beach is not necessarily made for running. So that's why I think it's a very interesting choice that they picked it. But I heard that because the concrete mixed with the bubbles that it, caused for some problems. Now, I don't know how real that is, but that supposedly they did run in Blizzard Beach, I think in the early 2000s is what I read. So
well, I'm excited for the changes. I mean, give me a different course every time because I would just, want to see stuff. I'd rather be in the parks than on the roads. That's a good thing. I love running in Epcot. We run quite a bit in Epcot, so I can't imagine they're doing a whole lot more there. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And earlier the better.
Yeah, especially with the construction, by the way, at Epcot. I can't see. Yeah.
Well, especially too, like starting at 5 a.m. What's the difference? 5:30, 5 a.m. It's still super early, and with the marathon, just the sooner you start, the less time you're going to be out in the sun. I'd rather run as much as I can before that sun gets up and high and hot. So that's a great change. So I'm glad that they're actually doing this. I will say, I mean, do you remember this? Like with the Tower of Terror 10 miler, we used to run through the woods at ESPN. Like you wouldn't go in the ESPN main gates; they just like all of a sudden would churn you like. There was like a sign and like, the repeating guy, it's like, there's a speed bump ahead. Be careful. There's a speed bump ahead. Be careful. Like every 10 seconds, like hang a right here into those woods. No, for real. Go into the woods. There's a light.
Like, so was it the trail that you ran?
Yeah.
So we ran that. Yeah. So the first Star Wars race, we ran the trail. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I'm running on a trail and there's gravel and I was like, well, I'm walking this. I was already done with the race anyway at that point. I'm like, forget it. I'm walking. I'm not hurting myself on gravel right now.
like we're always thinking, Disney would never do that. Man, they put us in the woods with like big lights on generators, like, for a good amount of time, probably half a mile or so. I know what it was. It was part of the cross country course that they do at Wide World of Sports for like high school kids.
Oh.
So it was fun. But I mean, yes, they'll do crazy stuff. So it's fun. Yeah, I'm excited for the changes. So I think it'll be fun. All right. So that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for the great questions. We got to talk Run Disney, Halloween, resorts, everything, being legit. Your kids, parenting advice 101 from Pam and Mike. Well, a lot going on. So send those questions in. We love talking Disney with you. Mike at BRGuestPodcast.com or drop by the Facebook page as we record. We love having you there. All right. Today's show brought to you by our friends over at virtualmickey.com. Home of great iPhone apps like Theme Park News, Disney Edition. A lot going on. Rikki, what are we reading about on this free iOS app today?
Well, Mike, you, sir, are going to have to potentially go over, because I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be open yet, but you're going to have to go over to Port Orleans French Quarter because they are going to be opening a brand new Scat Cats Club Cafe, which is going to serve beignets all day long, all day, every day. They're going to have the classic ones as well as seasonal flavors. So I'm all about the pumpkin spice beignets. And they will even serve some that are Mickey shaped. So the beignets will be made in-house daily. And they're also updating the Scat Cats Club at Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter. It's going to be expanded to a larger space. And the lounge is going to serve up signature beverages and offer live jazz entertainment 5 nights a week. Now, the Scat Cats Club, that's so hard to say, will begin offering experiences on October 1st. But I'm not entirely sure when the beignets will begin being served, but they did say October. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the same day or a different day, but I'm all in for pumpkin spice beignets, and I'm going to miss them because I leave before the 1st. So I'm sad about that.
And I leave on the 2nd, and obviously on the 1st, I'm gonna be a little busy watching Epcot Forever.
Yeah.
But I love this because I think that with just a little bit of work, this place could be as popular as the River Roost with Yeehaw Bob.
Absolutely.
People love jazz, and it's an American. Like, I don't know if people know this, but like jazz is an American invention. That's like something uniquely American.
I mean, I'm all about the beignets, so bring me the beignets.
Yeah, all right, don't forget you can get this app and other great apps over at virtualmickey.com today. Also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. You get all your Prime benefits, cost you nothing extra, and it really helps support everything we do. So again, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Follow us on the social media, especially as we are down at Walt Disney World and Universal and having a good time this weekend. At Be Our Guest Pod and at Be Our Guest Mike, at Rikki Nibs and at TMFLT Pam if she pulls the trigger, which she needs to do right now. And we'll have a good time. Also on the Facebook page too, facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. All right, we're going to get out of here and we'll be back again on Friday. We're going to have a battle between 2 resorts that are not in the same category. How can that be done? Stay tuned. This will be back on Friday. If you're already subscribed, guess what? It's going to show up anyway, whether you like it or not. And if you haven't subscribed, that is one of the best ways to support the show. So go out and find your favorite podcast app, hit the subscribe button, and then every show signs up or shows up on the night before we actually have the, it's kind of dumb. We talked about it at the Game Disney Meet. They come out on Sunday nights, Tuesday nights, and Thursday nights, even though we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows. And long story. Just hit subscribe. That'll help support the podcast. All right, time to get out of here. So for Rikki and Pam, I'm Mike. Wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to head back to work. And we'll see you real soon. That's fun. All right. So those are good questions. All right. Let me save this. 1542 edited. All right. BRB real quick. Got to take care of something real fast.
Is it called going to the bathroom?
BRB.
BRB. Oh my God. I hear some noise. It must be something with the noise. Because he probably ran up to do that, take care of that. I'm going to go back. This is super exciting.
I know, right? I hope that people on Facebook are loving them.
I know. We're both like looking at different things, and yeah, that's awful. Oh well.
Oh,
Mike hurt himself. It's fine.
My chair's on wheels. It almost got me.
That's good. I would have laughed.
I would have cried because it would have killed my back. Close. Wait. Oh, wait. Hang on. All right. That's on. Okay. Here we go. Yes, that is the Pam Instagram wall. Here we go.
It's at my house. It's a very little known one. Like you have to actually come to my house.
And I'm going to have an Instagram wall here soon because we're delivering our couch this week. And let's wait until they got that in before I put mine back up. All right, here we go. 1543. Welcome to episode 1543 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rahman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. And in just about 48 hours, my home will be Disney's Pop Century Resort. We're going to have a good time for a few days down there, having some fun, checking out the gondolas. The first, I'm a Disney transportation freak, so I'll get to check out the newest way to get around Walt Disney World. Of course, I want to see Epcot forever, and I'll be filling up World Showcase Lagoon with my tears on the last performance of Elimination. So follow along on the social media. Rikki will be down there as well, so make sure you're following her too. So we're going to have a good time today talking a little Pop Century and a quandary that actually I was in myself, trying to figure out what resort to stay at this upcoming trip. I think every time we have our favorites, but we have like concerns, like what are the goals of the trip? We're going to pit Pop Century against Coronado Springs here in just a second, two different categories, but I think it'll be a fun conversation. So joining me today for this conversation, we have Rikki from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less. And Rikki, as this show comes out on Friday, are you down in Central Florida by now?
I am. Yes, sir. And I will be at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party tonight. So make sure you are following along. So here's kind of my plan. So last night, I hopefully went to see Eliminations for the last time. We'll see how that pans out. I booked a flight, so we'll see how that works. Then tonight I'm doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Tomorrow night I'm going over to the other park that everybody doesn't want me to go to, and I'm going to go to Halloween Horror Nights. And then on Sunday I am going to Epcot for the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, and I'm going to be there for the grand opening day of the gondolas, and I'm so excited about it. So that's kind of my plan. Now, as with plans, things change, but
let me ask you this, because I think a lot of people are going to be in the same situation where I don't think you're not staying on site, right? For the trip, you're staying with your brother.
No, I'm not even staying with my brother. I'm staying at a lovely Hyatt Place.
No, there you go.
Hotel.
Look at you. You get to stay for free. No, just kidding. So,
actually, no, I think we had to pay for this one.
That makes me feel better. Good. Because I'm paying too. I'm paying through the nose. No, just kidding. Okay. So let me ask you this though, because I think a lot of our listeners are kind of in this kind of similar situation where you want to check out the Skyliner, you want to ride the gondolas, but like you might just be coming in, and of course Disney's transportation is free. Like, how are you planning to catch that? You're going to, go to the studios and catch it from there? Cause then you got to pay to park. Well, you got an AP. So how's that working out? So what's your plan?
Yeah, so I probably will go to Epcot because I'm planning to go to Epcot anyway that day. And what I'll probably do is I'll head back to International Gateway, head out, get on the gondola there, and then take the ride from there over to Hollywood Studios, probably is what I'll do. And then I'll probably take the ride back. So
good
my plan. Yeah.
All right. And it's funny that you take off right before I get there. What's up?
I know. I just really didn't want to see you. That's kind of it's just kind of how Brian has to work at the end of the month always. And so I was trying to figure out the best way to do this. And so that was the only way we could do it. So yeah.
All right. Also joining us with the owner of I did it again. The Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. What is going on, Pam? Hope you can make it this weekend. I know you got a lot going on, but come on, let's make it happen.
I know. I feel like I may need to have a weekend at home since I haven't had one in a while. So I don't know. There's just, there are a million things going on, but I'm so jealous because I really do want to see the new show. I honestly, I said my goodbyes to Epcot Eliminations. We're good. I don't need to see it again. So it's not going to miss me. I'm not going to miss it. We're going to be fine.
Oh, wow.
We spent more time than one should spend with a nighttime show together.
That is a hot take right there.
So anyways, yeah, but so we're good. We've said our goodbyes. We enjoyed each other's company while it lasted, but now we're ready to move on to other things. So that's really what I want to see, and I want to ride the gondolas. So I don't know when that will happen. It may not happen until November. I don't know, but Joanne, she's enticing me. She says high 85 and no humidity down there. So
that means if we go down, there'll be a hurricane.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yes, I know, but it'll be good. I'm glad that y'all are going, and we can let us know what it's like.
I saw there's a Lorenzo is like the next one out there or something like that. If there's a Lorenzo, the hurricane that rains on my parade, Mark, we're talking. We're going to be back. I know it's out there in the basin. Let me ask you this, Pam, real quick. Earlier, I think it was last weekend, we were in Indy. The Disney Parks blog tweeted out a preview of Epcot Forever, kind of a behind the scenes, the making of this. Totally blew me away because, again, they keep telling us temporary show, like 9 months or so. We don't know the exact dates, but, this is just a placeholder until we get Harmonious, and it's like, but there's a full orchestra and they show
I know.
I see the great singers singing into the microphone and they're showing all these kites and dancing, all together. And it's awesome. Like, are you kidding me? They're putting a lot of effort into this for being temporary. What did you think, Pam, when you saw that?
So it's funny because there was an event that I was invited to a while back where they actually showed us a lot of this preview that they released on the blogs and stuff. And I was blown away when I saw it. I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this looks so good. The music sounded great. The effects that they're using, the kites. I remember seeing the kites and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this looks really great. It was like, it was the one thing like we could not take pictures of, but they had the Imagineer in speaking with us about this and the passion that these folks have for this project, whether it's going to be a temporary project or not, are incredible. So I love it. I can't wait. And that's one of the reasons why I kept thinking about it. Dang, I want to see that. Like I want to see that thing. So I don't know. I'll be anxious to see what you think, Mike, as a diehard Illuminations person.
But I'm also a diehard, like I love the old music from old Epcot, even though it wasn't there in the 80s. Like I love that stuff. So, but what I thought it was going to be when they said temporary, and I'm fine with it. I would be totally fine with this. Just them taking that existing music from those attractions, like Horizons, like Old Spaceship Earth, like stuff from the Land of the Seas, just like making some fans have done this, basically like take a compilation of those like themed area music loops and like just fit it in, just take the existing footage. But no, they had an orchestra and they have singers. I mean, this is, what about you, Rikki? I mean, because you're always on the social media. When this came out, I was like, wow, this is going to be a bit more than I thought. And I'm excited for it even more now.
I know. I'm kind of hoping that what they will do with this is they will make it kind of like how they do at Disneyland, where they do, like Mickey's Mixed Magic one, for a little while, and then they'll do Disneyland Forever fireworks for a while, and then they'll switch to another fireworks show for a while, and then they'll come back to the next one. Like, that's kind of what I'm hoping that they're going to do with Epcot, like, and Epcot Forever and Harmonious is like they will do Epcot Forever for a while, and then they'll bring in Harmonious, and then they'll bring back Epcot Forever. And I just really hope that that's what they're doing, because it seems like so much work is being put into a temporary show. Like, really, so much work is being put into this. So I would really like to see, this roll out into other ways. So we'll see.
I'm excited because one of the reasons I love Disney is that when I first started going there, I'm like, wow, they do things. It's kind of like Apple, like Apple and Steve Jobs always said, like, we paint, we make the backside of the iPhone as pretty as the front side. You're never going to see it, but that's an expectation. When I see a temporary show getting, full attention, because that is going to be the nighttime spectacular for guests. It doesn't matter. If your only trip falls within, October 1st and when the new show comes out next summer, that person doesn't care if that's a temporary show. That's their nighttime fireworks show. So I'm glad that they're not taking the easy way out and they're making it awesome. I haven't seen it, but I think it is going to be awesome. So well done, Disney. I know sometimes we get on you when you don't do things right, and Lord knows Diz Twitter does. So
Yes.
Pat on the back. Good job. Thank you for doing that for us. We appreciate it. All right. So we're going to hop into a little resort talk today. Pop Century versus Coronado Springs. Both great resorts. Both have a lot of new stuff going on. Both have an audience, I think. So let's talk about this. I was going down, obviously, to ride the Skyliner. So that's why I picked Pop Century. And I love Pop Century. It's an old standby. I haven't been there for a while. I'm going solo. So it just makes sense to stay at a value and not get anybody upset back home. They don't get, I'm only staying at Pop Century. I'm not staying at the Grand Floridian this time. So, it keeps everybody happy back home. But let's talk about these two resorts and why you might pick one over the other. And it might be kind of surprising because let's start off. Obviously, let's talk price and value. Two different words. I think a lot of times they're interchanged when you talk about Disney vacations, but price and value. And of course, Pop Century is going to always win on price because it is a value resort. But what about value? Like what you're getting for your money? Because now at Pop Century, you're getting the Skyliner, you're getting good bus service, your room's smaller, but it's redone. Coronado Springs, you're riding a bus. It's got multiple stops, but you're getting a bigger room. You're getting a remodeled room. You have the tower as an option. You have sit down. So before we dive into all these things, price and value, Pam, talk us through that for Pop Century and Coronado Springs as a proposition.
And I'm glad that this is something that we've talked about since the inherent beginning of our podcast, but price and value are very different. And some folks I don't know that they don't see that, but it doesn't pop into their mind until someone really explains it to them. There may be a really, really cruddy resort that you're staying at that is $55 a night and something that's 8 times as good that you're staying at $155 a night, right? Or but the one is 3 times the price of the other. But in terms of value, one is way better. And it's a little harder to do that, I think, with these two, particular because they are both redone resorts. They really and truly are. But the rooms at Coronado, it's a moderate resort. So like Mike said, the difference really is, first of all, the size of the rooms. The rooms at Coronado are going to be a little different. The kind of experience that you're looking for. Are you looking to spend some time in the resort? Will you appreciate the extra amenities that Coronado has? Because it absolutely has them. The pool at the moderate resorts, of course, have a slide. That's a big deal for a lot of people that pool has a slide. Whether you're a kid or a kid at heart or someone that just enjoys some pool time, if it has a slide, that's going to be something that appeals to you more. And not only does it have a slide, but it also has like a pool bar and a quick service little location there too. And I will tell you, for my family, especially during certain months of the year, we're looking for the total resort experience. So we're going to be spending some time at the pool. We're going to want to drink probably from the pool. We're going to eat lunch there one day. I don't want to have to schlep back to the main building. I want to be right there. That's something that we think about when we're thinking about it. We're thinking about the pool chairs and just the ambiance around there. We're thinking about the different resorts. A lot of people are thinking about the different toiletries. At this point, Coronado's, it does have, some toiletries that you can pump in the showers like Pop Century does. But then they're also leaving some other nice toiletries out there in your room for you. Those kind of things, matter to some folks. They really and truly do. And that's okay. I mean, you're just going to have a different experience. We're also talking about the different options for eating too. At a moderate, those look very different than they do at the value resorts. The value resorts have sort of a food court area, and that's really it. The moderate resorts are all going to have a sit down. French Quarter, of course, shares the sit down with Riverside. And then they're also going to have at least one quick service location, if not a couple, some by the pool and whatnot. Now, especially at Coronado, you're getting a lot of different food service options there. So just lots and lots of things to consider when you're looking at value.
So let's just throw out some things here. So when I was thinking about this, because Pop Century wins in some categories and Coronado wins in some categories, which we'll kind of dive into here in just a few minutes. But I was thinking about if you're taking somebody for the first time to get maybe their first Walt Disney World trip or their first at least on-site experience where they're staying at a Walt Disney World Resort, there's somebody that's a big fan of the movies. Like they're a big Disney nerd, and they haven't really stayed, got the Walt Disney World Resort experience. I would say Pop Century wins in that case because you have all the big Disney characters, the icons. You got the big Mickey phone. You got the potato heads you can see as you walk around the resort. You have a lot of Disney memorabilia in the lobby. It just has a very Disney fan feel at Pop Century. So, and plus, I always like to go with value first because I mean, just like I got the veranda on our honeymoon and could never go back economically. So just saying, but I think that like if you have a big Disney fan who's never had the on-site experience, I think Pop Century wins. And then like if you're staying for more elegance and more relaxation, then you're bumping up to the moderates and especially Coronado Springs. Rikki, what do you think about that kind of a situation? Like where's a situation where you're trying to decide between these two? I think one is for the person who's never stayed on site, but they're a huge Disney fan. They love the movies. Go Pop Century. But what do you think like kind of with this conversation here?
So I think if you are maybe looking for a little bit more of an upscale experience, you might want to go with the Coronado Springs, just because I feel like, and granted, I love Pop Century, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Coronado, especially with the new tower, has that more elegant feel to it. So if you are there for like a honeymoon or, you know, a romantic getaway or, you know, whatever, I feel like Coronado is going to be the better bet. However, if you're there for kind of a fun-filled vacation, or if you're there with family or whatever, I see the desire to want to stay at a Pop Century. I think that that's kind of a better option for that. Now, that's not to say again that Coronado isn't a great option for families. It clearly is. I mean, look at the pool area. Hello, that pool is fantastic. So, you know, they've definitely got that in spades. But that's kind of the distinction that I think about when I think about the two resorts overall. It's kind of just the feel overall is just a little more elegant, I think, at Coronado, even without the tower, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even before the tower, it's very close to being a deluxe resort. It really and truly is. And it's and you can get good rates over there, especially if you want to stay in like non-tower standard view rooms. I mean, it's not much more than Pop Century a lot of the time. I mean, it's a little bit more, but it's not a lot more. So it's something to think about. That's why it's such a tough call, even though one's about, because, you know, we've done these shows where we've compared like Pop to Art, you know, in the Little Mermaid rooms, because they're very similar, or Riverside to French Quarter, you know, they're in the same category. This one kind of bridges categories, but it also kind of brings up a lot of other things to think about because they're not that far apart in price. So let's talk about things where one wins over the other clearly. And if you disagree, let me know. So I think that what Pop has going on, this is just my opinion as I was trying to make my decision. Pop has better transportation, Disney transportation, because it has one bus stop. They have frequent buses, but now they have the Skyliner. Huge advantage, Pop Century transportation. However, Coronado Springs is more centrally located on property, gets you where you want to go. It's got a great location right across from the studios in Epcot. I'm trying to think. Things that Pop wins it, because you wouldn't think Pop would ever win because it's a value against a moderate. I love the food court at Pop Century. I think it's awesome. Plus, you have the option to walk over to Art of Animation and use their food court. Now, Coronado Springs does have what's El Mercado del Coronado, which used to be Pepper Market. It's like an upscale food court, but Pop Century is like quicker. It's like it's more family friendly, in my opinion. I like Coronado's better because they have a lot of, you know, better options, I think. I don't know. So help me out with food courts. Where would you go on that one, Pam? I think you said Coronado you take.
I would, and here's why. So Coronado not only has El Mercado, but it also has Cafe Ricks, which is another quick service location. And it has the Siestas Pool Bar, which again has other quick service locations. So I think there's just a lot of different things from which to choose. And I really like El Mercado's food court. I think they have a lot of good choices. I think that they have good choices at breakfast, which, you know, I think that the quick service and food court locations after like day 2 or 3 of eating there, you're like, I've eaten the things that I want to eat here. I really don't want them again. Well, El Mercado has a ton of different options. It just really does. And lots of different things from which to choose. So I think that's a good thing. They have grab and go options at the Cafe Ricks, which we talked about. Those you can also do the pool bar. So I think for those reasons, I think that you're going to be happier with the quick service locations at El Mercado. Well, I'm going to be happier anyway.
I mean, you have more options there, and they're spread out. One's at the pool, One's,
Yep.
kind of down by Maya Grill, El Mercado del Coronado. You have Cafe. You know what Cafe Rick's gets me on every time I say at Coronado? Like when you're walking back, like at night, they have all the desserts sitting right there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Dude, it's like you're done. Like, okay, I'm going in, Magic Man. Boop, got some I don't need, 1,000 calories. Totally every time. Yeah, but I mean, they're different experiences, and I think that's a great thing. It is really kind of a debate because the food court's centrally located. I think it's more kid friendly at Pop Century and Art of Animation. It's more like down home regular type stuff, but they do have a window with like the mom's night out kind of stuff Rikki mentioned on a couple shows back. Rikki, where do you fall on these? Like as far as like grabbing a quick bite, because obviously Coronado wins that in spades because they have the table service.
Yeah. So honestly, if I'm grabbing a quick bite, I think I am going to go Pop Century. Brian and I were super impressed with the food that they had at Pop Century the last time we were there. Like we had fried chicken and it was really good fried chicken and mashed potatoes and stuff like that. So, and we had good breakfast options there too. And they do have the awesome grab and go that's there. Now that's not to say that we didn't enjoy our meal at El Mercado either. I mean, we had nachos and they were homemade, like they were made there. Like those nachos are made there. You can see they're making the chips. You can see that they're piling on, like they're piling on the food as they're making your nachos in front of you and they're asking you what you want on them. Like that part's amazing too. So like you could totally split meal there. But I think as far as ease goes, I think that Pop Century wins. I think both have excellent food though. I mean, I'm not judging either's food, harshly because I've left full after and satisfied after leaving both places. So I think both food courts as far as quality wins pretty good. So
I agree. Okay, so let's talk. Obviously, rooms. I'm giving the nod to Coronado. They're bigger. It's a moderate resort. They're very elegant. They're interesting though at Pop Century. They're smaller and they're less expensive, but they are. It's a novelty to have the bed that folds out of the room. That's something that's fun. I mean, you just don't. You probably don't have that at your house, so it's kind of fun. But rooms, obviously, Coronado pool. Coronado for sure, but the thing is, Pop Century's got 3 pools. Coronado. Do they still have the quiet pools, right?
Yeah.
And so you have multiple pools at both locations. But again, the pools are adequate at Pop Century. They're fine. They're themed. You got the Hippy Dippy pool, which is going through, here soon. Really kind of a sprucing up. The bowling pin, the computer. They're fun. But of course, you got the I think it's the Jaguar slide with the big pyramid at the dig site. You got a little playground there, but you got playgrounds everywhere now at the resorts. So I would nod swimming pools, Coronado, but Pop Century is plenty fun, plenty fine. We grew up in those pools and they're awesome. I'm trying to think about other categories, Rikki. So what's something else that we could kind of pit the two against each other where one, we could have a discussion on this?
I mean, I think if you're looking at bars overall, I mean, definitely Coronado wins, hands down. Coronado wins. There's just not a lot of bar options at Pop Century, and that's because they only have a pool bar, basically, and that pool bar doesn't seem to be open that often. So
I've seen people having a good time there. It's called Pedals. It's right there by the Hippy Dippy pool.
Pedals. But I feel like, because of the fact that Coronado is kind of themed as a convention hotel. You do have Rick's Lounge, which is a bar. Although, actually, I think it's become a sports bar as of late.
It's actually, I love the refurb at Rick's. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And they have really good apps. If you want to just catch an app, go to Rick's.
Yeah. But then you've got over at, the new tower, you've got the Barcelona Lounge, which they've added, and that's a huge bar as well. You've got Dahlia up on the top of the Grand Destino Tower, and then you've got Three Bridges, which is also a great bar area. So there's a lot of options for those who are looking for a great bar to go to at Coronado.
The Laguna one too.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Laguna pool bar is still there.
So see, so many options, and it beats Pop Century hands down if you're looking for a bar. So yeah.
So Pam, what about another kind of thing to kind of compare the two against each other? Because again, Coronado is going to win on most things because obviously it is a moderate resort, and it even tends to be the highest. If you're going to rank them, a lot of people would put Coronado above the other 3 moderates. Of course, Caribbean Beach is coming on strong with the gondolas and, the new, dining options and the rooms and so forth. But, what's something else that maybe might surprise folks that Coronado and Pop Century still have, maybe not equal, but they both have that kind of experience you can have at each?
So this is sort of in the dining vein as well, but room service. So the value resorts really only have like pizza as a room service, right? That's your room service choice, is that you can order some pizza and sodas and some beer and salads and things like that to your room. But Coronado has a little more of a room service choice. They just have, even from the other moderate resorts, because I think, during the point in time where it was a convention hotel, they figured that they needed to step up their game in that space. Now, I'm not going to say that they have a huge room service menu, but they absolutely have breakfast that you can order to your room. They have some things besides pizza available for dinner. They have some sandwiches and kids options and desserts and things like that. So that's something that you may want to consider if that's something that you want to do on vacation. I know a lot of families really enjoy the room service option when they're on vacation. So I understand that.
And I was thinking, I've thought this for the last, 15 years, that if Disney were to gift me for all these podcasts that we've put on, and I mean, let's be honest, we pump the Disney product, and we're paying money for all the bandwidth, I paid thousands and thousands of dollars just to put this out there. You know what? It's basically a big commercial for Disney most times, and that's fine. So I'm just saying, if they ever got benevolent and decided to, you know what, Mike, we love you. You've been doing that for 11 years. We're going to let you pick something. You're going to get like a piece of Walt Disney World's, a thing. Like, because that's what I've always wanted. I know like there's places that sell like comforters from the Polynesian and all that stuff. I like stuff that's actually been at Walt Disney. You know what? I brought home, this is so dumb. This is good. People are going to totally think I'm an idiot. Well, they already do. So it's okay. So we were there during Hurricane Charlie at Pop Century, like years and years ago. I think it was like 2004. And it passed right over Pop Century at night. It was a category 2 and it went over Walt Disney World. So the next morning we got up and there were these pine cones everywhere, these big pine cones. I brought one home and I still have it from Hurricane Charlie.
I have some from Fort Wilderness.
I don't know where it is, but I have it somewhere.
I know where mine are.
I remember because it was like at Pop Century and it went through the hurricane and it was right by our room. And I got up the next morning. So I have a dumb pine cone. Anyway, so long story, getting longer and longer. But one of the things I wish, if Disney let me take something as a souvenir, you mentioned something that really triggered this, Pam. I want that the Pop Century pizza delivery truck.
Like, oh my gosh, right?
Like golf cart, or like the one that's like a suitcase. Tell me those aren't the coolest things ever.
They are. They're adorable.
I'd go right up and down Mid-Rivers Mall Drive in that thing when I'm going to Taco Bell.
That would be your new vehicle.
It would. My Jeep and my suitcase or pizza delivery Pop Century thing.
Agreed. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Okay, let's just be honest. Say you have kids like, say, under 9, or even like to say under 12. What do you think? Like, which one's going to be more of a hit for them? Because Coronado Springs has a better pool and it's got a lot going on, but Pop Century's more Disney in your face. Rikki, what do you say to that? You got kids, Pop Century, Coronado.
Pop Century. I think Pop Century just has the overall feel of the resort is just fun and wacky and awesome, and I feel like that has just a much better appeal to those with kiddos. You've got the giant larger than life characters. You've got the Twister game that's out there. You've got the fun. The pool is fun, especially the hippy dippy pool is super fun. You've got the food court, which is really good too. And they have the arcade. I don't think Coronado still has an arcade.
It's over by the pool. It's
okay.
I think, yes.
Okay, but I know I've spent time in the arcade recently at Pop Century. So
here's the thing too. Like I think all the hotels still have some form of an arcade. They're not as crazy as they used to be, like when Paige was younger, but like the arcade feels like it fits the theme at Pop Century. Like It is like part of the overall experience, where I think it's like an add-on at Riverside, French Quarter, like say Coronado.
I would absolutely agree with that. It definitely feels like it fits at Pop Century. So
even though I hate it for the most part because it's just taking more money. And like seriously, you're at Walt Disney World. Why do you need to go to an arcade? We're paying ours.
I know.
Go have fun.
I know, but we had a good time, so I'm not even gonna lie. We had a great time at the arcade. So, yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I do. I think that Pop Century is just the better choice for those with kiddos.
I think so too. So Pam, give us another thing to consider, like when you're in that thing, because I think with trip planning, this is kind of a tough one because you could pull the trigger on Coronado for not much more and get some things. But I mean, Pop Century has some uniquely Disney experiences too that you may not get anywhere else. So like, what's another consideration for the Pop versus Coronado debate?
So I think too, well, I think there's something to be said though for kids and Coronado, like you mentioned the pool, but they also have a fantastic playground over at Coronado. The one by the pool there, it's really cool and just dramatic and looks like, something that's really appealing to kids. So I like that. I also like the fact that at night it's beautiful. And, I think that there are different things that kids, really get sort of charged up by. I think that that's kind of a cool thing. It's around a lake, and I know that Pop Century is too, but the one at Coronado just seems a little more accessible because you can walk around, the whole thing. So I really like that. But to your question, something else to think about is, if you're a family that travels or one of you travels often and just used to the hotel amenities that you run into, during your regular travels, I think you may be happier at Coronado because those are going to be the things that you see there too. And I think, we find that every now and then there will be someone who comes to us and they'll say, I really don't, my budget's really limited, but then we get into the conversation a little more and I find out like one of them travels, for work a lot and is used to staying at this type of resort and they'll describe that a little more. Then we're sort of like, what, I think you'd be happier if you were at Coronado because you're going to just experience that level of service and amenities that you're used to having. So if you are, that is something to consider.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a great point. Like if you're used to like the Marriott or,
Mm-hmm.
say Hilton, you're going to get more of those the room's set up more like that type of a room.
Yeah, it just is.
Pop Century is very Disney, but it's also, it's not exactly, your suite at the Marriott. Cause like we stayed there this weekend. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Now, one other thing too, when you're looking at this, if you're a runner, okay, so if you're a runner, both of these resorts are great for runners because at Pop Century you can run around Hourglass Lake. Now you'll have the entertainment of the gondolas running, so you can watch those whiz over your head as you get your miles in. But Coronado Springs is a great place to run because you get to run through the separate areas, the ranchos, the casitas, and the cabanas, and now you can look at the for the last few years I've been watching the tower being built, and now I can just look at the beautiful tower. So both great places to run. So as we close this out, Rikki, final thoughts on this debate. Like somebody comes up to you and you're thinking, well, I've narrowed it down, Coronado, Pop Century. What's kind of a final thought of something, maybe not the right or wrong answer, but something to think about.
I really think it is, you need to decide what kind of vacation that you're going to be having. I feel like if you're looking to have a more relaxed vacation or you're planning on spending more time at the resort or whatever, then I do feel like Coronado is potentially a better option for you. I feel like if you're going to be more on the go, that kind of thing, in the parks more or whatever, then I feel like Pop Century is just sort of the right choice for that kind of stay. That's, again, not to say that you can't have the opposite kind of stays at either of those, but I just feel like that's what kind of each one of those lends themselves to overall, in my opinion.
I agree. And the best part about this is, as we wrap the show, is that, whether you stay at Pop Century or Coronado Springs, you are going to get a Disney experience. You're going to get a great on-site hotel. You're going to get the Disney difference, at both hotels. The cast members are equally friendly. It's not like they're more friendly at a moderate. They're even more friendly at a deluxe. No, that isn't how it works. They're going to greet you at All-Star Sports the same way they would at the Grand Floridian. The costumes they're wearing are going to be a little different. They're kind of funky looking at the All-Stars, and, Pop Century, they're groovy. But you're going to get great service at all of them. And, it's just kind of amenity levels that you see, as you go from one category to the next. But you know what? Like, I'm going to Pop Century, and I'm telling you, like, I've been as excited for this trip to Pop because I haven't been there for a few years, and I'm staying there again for Marathon Weekend. And I can't be more excited to be back at what I call my Pop Century. I love this place. And, I couldn't be, like, if I had Coronado planned, I wouldn't be more excited than I am for Pop. So final thoughts, Pam. I mean, I think it's just the goals of your trip, like Rikki said. and just kind of what you're excited for, what fits your mood at the time.
There is no right or wrong answer in this. I mean, I think that you really have to look at, again, the things that you're going to appreciate during your stay. Are you looking for something that feels a little more luxurious? Are you thinking to yourself, oh, we're not going to be in the room very often? Although I hate when people say that, we're not going to be in the room very often, so I'm going to stay at whatever. Because I think you should do it. I think you should consider more than that. No matter, what about the people who were there for like the hurricane who thought we're not going to be in the room very often?
Valid, yes, okay.
Right? You were kicking yourself and thinking, shoot, I was in the room very often or whatever. I mean, not that you ever anticipate you know what I mean, but that kind of thing. But if someone isn't feeling well or the weather's just horrible, whether it's a hurricane or not, let's just say it's rain or cold or sleet like we've had at different times.
I've been there for all of them.
I know, right?
Yes,
so it's just a lot. So anyways, just think about, some of the things that are there. But I also think there's value in being like, you know what? I know that we really want an evening out and we want to eat at a good restaurant. And I don't want to have to take like 3 modes of transportation to get there. I just want to be able to walk to it and then walk back to my room. Think about things like that. Think about what, is important to you in that space. And again, there isn't a wrong or a right answer, but think about your goals for the trip. Think about the things that you're looking forward to and think about, the money that you have to spend in that space.
That is legit. I mean, I stay at Coronado. I love all about Coronado. I love the theme. I love the pool. I love that I can run there. I love what it looks like. I love the rooms. But I mean, I'm not going to, no kidding. I've stayed there because of Maya Grill. Like, I love Maya Grill and I can just walk right, I can roll out of there, haven't had all fajitas and a tequila flight or a margarita flight and just walk back to my room and I'm good to go. Good night. Don't worry about it. That's a good point. So I hope you had a fun, time with us today on this discussion, because really no right or wrong answer, but I'm just as excited for Pop Century. Like I said, this coming weekend, it's going to be a great time being back at a very familiar place, a very Disney themed hotel. And of course, new Disney transportation, what I'm all about. So follow me on the social media, Rikki as well. We're going to be flying through the air and Pam will be there. Don't kid yourself. She'll be there. So we're going to have a good time. So thanks again for hanging with us here on a Friday. We hope you have a great weekend. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by our friends over at the Magic for Less Travel. So you know what? This is where a travel agent really does kind of come in handy, because I've had these conversations with many a guest. We just talk about it. Like, let's look at Yacht Club. Let's look at Coronado Springs. Let's look at Pop Century. What are the goals? Here's the price difference, but for that price difference, you're getting this, this, and this. Maybe you don't need that this trip because it's marathon weekend. You don't care about sitting in a hot tub. Maybe you do want to sit in a hot tub over at Coronado.
That's true. Marathon weekend. Yes, you do.
It just depends. I mean, there's a lot of different circumstances. So I think that's where an agent will really come in handy. It's a lot of times it's not even the official, quote form or the questionnaire form. It's just the conversations back and forth via email, text message, phone calls. We talk it through and then we come up with a great plan. So, I mean, that's what we do. And the agents at the Magic for Less are great at that. Every one of them. They are awesome. They're Disney fans. They've been there, done that. They're going to help you have a great trip. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the Be Our Guest podcast.
Well, Mike, you mentioned another big reason to stay at Coronado. Exactly. Hot tub. Yes. Overpowered. There's no hot tub Pop Century. Just saying.
I'm just saying too, last time I was at Coronado, I jumped in the hot tub. Boom, 2 listeners were already in the hot tub already.
There you go.
How crazy is that? Anyway, so don't forget to also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. We appreciate that so much. And again, follow us on the social media at Be Our Guest Pod, at Be Our Guest Mike, at Rikki Nibs, and at TMFLT Pam, and of course on Facebook at facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. All right, good stuff. All right, so hope to see a lot of you down at Walt Disney World this coming week to say goodbye, Illuminations. But it's time for Epcot forever. And have a great time. That's right. So if you see me, come say hello. I'd really appreciate it. So for Rikki and Pam, I'm Mike. Wish you a great weekend. Whatever you do, stay safe, and we'll see you real soon.
Yay!
Forever?
I did a pretty good one that too. Forever. It surprised even me when I heard it. I was like, that's a decent
Beans Bunny.
Yeah. I can't believe it's still there.
Gonzo. Hey, shush. Do not say.
No, I want it there, but I can't believe it is.
It needs a new show.
I know, but the problem is they would never do a new show in the same kind of wacky sensibility, because Jim Henson's not with us anymore, and I don't know.
They would. There are other people there at the helm that I think do a pretty good job, though.
Maybe.
Look at their Muppetness. They still can do it.
I know.
trust them.
I am excited about the Muppets on Disney Plus, though. I'm not gonna lie. So I know that there's like a little
Lots
show
of stuff on
or
Disney
maybe
Plus
it's
I'm
a
looking
short
forward to.
or whatever. But I know that there's something coming on Disney Plus's Muppets, and I'm all in for it. So let's go.
Anyway, Rhonda Lee, we got you. She says, "Love the show. I love pop, but this."
There we go.
We made you think.
We did.
I know. Which resort's your favorite? Whichever one I just talked about.
It's so up and down. Top Century's the greatest resort ever because I was just there. I love it. I don't need anything else. That's so me. All right. Well, I'll catch you guys later. I'll see you.
All right, awesome. See
All right,
y'all.
we'll have to figure out another day to
Okay.
record or whatever. Okay.
All right, see y'all.
I leave on Thursday, so.
We'll figure it
Okay.
out. Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye.